Well, Bleepin' Jeepers, winter has finally come to the high desert of the Rockies. And as you can see, it's brought the snow and the ice. With the snow and ice comes a treacherous driving. So this week I want to show you a method for putting tire chains on with the hopes that that'll make your drive this winter a little bit easier and a lot safer. First patented in 1904 by Harry Weed of Conestoga, New York, and no, I am not making that name up. Tire chains now come in 1,000 different styles. It's impossible for me to show you all of them, but here are 3 that I just happen to have on hand. And each of these kind of serve a different purpose, from that big mud chain in the middle to that snow chain on the right. Each one has its pros and cons. Now, if you primarily want your chains for snow, I recommend you get a set with these cleats welded to the cross chains. These dig into ice just awesome. They also work really good in mud too. Try to stay away from these cable chains. They're really only thing they're good for is snow on paved roads, and they're just weak. They might get you by, but I wouldn't rely on them. If you're primarily looking for mud, then get you a good heavy set of mud chains like this. Now, if you look carefully, these have 2 cam locks to attach them to the tire. You might also end up with a hook on one side and a cam lock on the other. Or like those weird cable chains, you may have a different attachment system altogether. Whatever you settle on, get you a good container. Now, I find a 50mm ammo box is perfect to fit 2 chains. And in the box, put a set of old gloves in there, because sure as shooting, you're going to get out in a blizzard, have to put a set of chains on, and you're not going to have gloves with you. By the time you get those chains on, you'll be lucky to feel your fingers for a month. So throw an old set of gloves in there. I keep a little roll of baling wire. That's to make repairs and do some other things that I'll show you here in a minute. Make sure you got a little bit in the box. Then go down to the hardware store, get you a cheap set of channel locks, and cut the rubber off of one side of the handle. I'll show you why here in just a minute. And then you just leave these in the box with the chains all the time, so you know they're always there. Make sure you got a set of bungees, one for each tire, so that you can tighten the chains up. Now, these bungees are specific for tire chains. And then I also like to have a few extra side links in case I have to lengthen a chain or repair one. And a 50mm ammo box fits 2 pretty good sized tire chains just about right. Now, on a good day, when it's warm and you're home in your driveway, lay your chains out and inspect them. Make sure that you don't have any broken links, you don't have any damage. Really check your cam locks to make sure they're not bent, they haven't been run over. Once they're bent, they just really never work good again. And do this before you get out in the middle of a blizzard and get stuck. Worst thing in the world is to be out there stuck, think you've got your chains figured out. You go to put them on for the first time, and then you find out they're too short. And now you're in a pickle. So do this at home when it's warm, and make sure they're gonna fit. Alright, let's get started. So anytime I'm putting chains on, I like to lay the chain out in front of the tire. I'm gonna put it on first, and then just straighten it out. Make sure that all of my cross chains are oriented correctly. They have a tendency to get twisted up when they're in a bucket like this or hanging around the back of your truck. So just take a good look at them. If you end up with one kind of twisted like this, they're pretty easy to get untangled. Usually you just have to twist the side chain a little bit. You may have to unwrap chain a little bit. Once you get it all flattened out and level like this, I grab the chain about the midpoint, and then I drape it up over the top of the tire. I'll try to square it up here a little bit. I'm orienting this chain so that the dog's paws on the cross chains, you see that hook there? Face that away from the rubber on the tire. Now I'll square these up, just kind of lay them on there, and then I always work from the inside out. So I'll just quickly hook the inside. I'm not worried about getting the cam tight right now. Quickly hook the outside, and then I'll pull forward a couple of feet. I'll generally put all the chains on that I'm going to put on before I pull forward, so I only have to pull forward once. Then working from the inside, this chain happens to have a cam lock, so I'm going to go ahead and get that cam all squared away. And then I'll move to the outside. It's always easier to do the outside second because this is going to be the most difficult one. You want it out here where you can get to it and work at it. Now here is where your channel locks are going to come big time in handy. If you can imagine it's 9 below, you're in a blizzard, your fingers are going to be pretty numb. These pliers are going to be a godsend for getting that cam lock through. And this right here is why I cut the rubber off of one side of the handle, because then it fits perfectly in the hook of that cam, and you can slide the lock bar down. When your fingers are numb in a blizzard, that's dang near impossible without those pliers. Now you always need to use some sort of a bungee system to tighten up your chains. Now this bungee is specifically made for tire chains. It's pretty convenient. It's got 4 or 5 hooks on it. You just hook it in a cross pattern like that, but you can use regular road bungees too. Now, this is where my baling wire comes in. You can see I've got an extra link there on the inside. You never want to leave those links just swinging around in there, especially up front. Now, if you can imagine that thing whipping around, in best case scenario, you're going to get some free body work. Worst case scenario, especially up front on your steer tires, that thing could just take out a brake line like you won't believe. You can imagine being stuck in a blizzard with no brakes. So wire those loose links down, don't let them fling around. And after you've driven about a few hundred yards, quarter mile at the most, stop and tighten all your chains. You'll be amazed how much chains stretch driving down the road. You'll probably have to take up an extra link on the outside of the chain. So that's what I'm doing here. I don't have the bungees on because I'm just trying to show you how I did this. Make sure you've got your bungees on still too. Now just a quick tip when you go to take your chains off, I like to pull them out to the side. I never want to drive over my cam locks. You drive over them and bend them, they just never work decent again. So pull them out to the side like that. When you drive off them, you make sure you won't bend anything. And that's about it. Alright, Bleepin' Jeepers, that's it for this week. Now this is just the way that I put chains on. It's not the only way. If any of you guys out there have some good tips or tricks on how to make this easier, please post them in the comment section below for everybody. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. If you found this video helpful, consider supporting the channel by going to our Patreon account. And as always, I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.